Design Indaba.
Hello. It's very nice to be here. I think it's always good to start a presentation off with an apology, and the apology in this presentation is it's going to have a lot of swearing. So if you don't like swearing, fuck off, because you're going to be offended. So what I want to talk about today is something called the wonder of what the fuck, and not being afraid of sounding stupid. And what I mean by that is this statistic, and I would love to say I remember where I found it, but I can't. So 18.3 billion is spent on advertising and marketing every year. 4% is remembered positively, 7% is remembered negatively, and 89% is not noticed or remembered. Now, 89% for a whole industry to be completely and utterly ignored is insanity. And all offices look the same. I think all people look the same. Some have staircases that are very trendy. Some have Pizza Friday. Other have taxidermy walls. That does not make a culture. But I want to talk to you today about what our agency in London, Adam and Eve, and the people there, what we think it is that helps make us, that helps us to get to good work, and it is trying to find the sort of what the fuck moments. And what I mean by this is I don't mean like any idea is a good idea, because that's not true. You know people are going to be laughing at you, and you're going to be petrified of being fired. The what the fuck ideas, I'm going to take you through a couple of, three or four examples of moments where myself and colleagues have had a moment of, I don't really know what the fuck this is. It scares me. I'm not sure where we're going with it, but let's just go with it. And sometimes it comes from the most random of places. And I think, and what I pride myself, and everybody in the agency prides themselves, is being able to embrace that, and being able to, it's not about the traditional teams come up with the traditional ideas. An idea can sort of come from anywhere. So the first example I want to talk about is Marmite. Marmite is, for those of you that don't know, an absolutely revolting yeast spread. And I can say that because I unpack it in the next couple of slides. So for years, we've been running a campaign going, you either love it or you hate it. And it's true. People go, they're either Marmite lovers or they're Marmite haters. And we've really riffed on this for the last 30 years. And you either love it or hate it. We've done, and it's become part of pop culture. You're referred to as being a bit Marmite, which means being a bit sort of like. So this ran on the passing of our late Prime Minister. So right, brief was in. We need to get young families. We need to get Marmite back on the table. Sugary, we have to get sugary snacks on the table, off the table, and replace them with salty ones. So, briefed the team, and that actually didn't come up with much other than posters with "I love it" or "hate it" on it. And there was a guy that just started. Who was quite a junior planner and was very, very keen. And we were talking about, well, let's do some groups and really find out what consumers think. And he was like, yeah, and we're like, okay. He goes, well, why don't we genetically test consumers? And the team were like, what? He goes, well, instead of doing research groups, let's genetically test consumers to see if love it or hate it is really a thing. Because like cilantro or asparagus, maybe you have a taste profile where you are predisposed to love or hate Marmite. He was very pleased with himself. And then we sent him off to the generic client. And what happened was, and the real what the fuck moment in this was we managed to persuade a client to genetically test the consumers. And what good looked like was that 50% of them would hate the product. So that was a real what the fuck moment for them. And they agreed. They agreed to do it. And they I hate calling people brave in advertising because being in advertising isn't brave. But in this instance, I thought they were pretty brave. And off to the lab we went. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, we got a white paper back which says genome-wide association studies identify 15 genetic markers associated with the Marmite taste preference. So you are officially predisposed to love or hate Marmite. And we had this medical paper in our hands, and we were like, okay, now the fun can begin. And so we started the Marmite Gene Project, and it started with, we couldn't be further away from advertising at this point. We weren't just going to do a TV ad going, oh yeah, because people wouldn't believe it. So we went out there and we leaked it to the press. The press went crazy because Marmite's part of the cultural DNA of the UK, and this was, and the New Scientist branded us heathens, and it was amazing. And then we thought, okay, let's take it a next step further, and in this day and age of DNA testing kits, let's do a Marmite DNA testing kit. And we put this up for subscription, and the data we got back was brilliant. No, but and people actually called up for it, and people got their results back. And then it was only then, once we had this sort of momentum, then when we started to sort of go out there and in sort of more traditional media, and this is what we did.
They're here!
This should be interesting.
Please find and close the results of your family's recent Marmite gene tests.
These show whether you were born a lover or a hater.
What does it say?
You're a hater?
Dad.
Yeah.
I need to tell you something. I'm a Marmite lover.
I thought you said I hated it, and this says I love it. What type of mother does something like that?
But baby,
Oh my goodness, I am so stupid.
I prefer jam.
I'm carrying a hater's baby!
It's basically destroying my childhood!
Oh, sweetheart.
Come here, son.
You don't care.
Oh, we just want you to be happy with who you are.
Have you ever done it here? In this house?
Yes. I only did it to make you happy.
Do I look happy? On this table?
Yes.
Ah!
Baby, please
I don't hate Marmite, I hate you!
I can learn, look.
Get in, all lovers.
Oh, I hate it! I hate it!
He's not really enjoyed it.
So from a very young and new person came an idea that I'm incredibly proud of from the agency, and the problem we have now is that half the UK know that they're, well, whoever did it, know that they're now haters. So the new campaign is subliminal advertising and hypnosis to get them back to being lovers. So it's just a gift that keeps on giving. So next out of the trap is FIFA, and FIFA is in the 10th largest entertainment things in the world, and they came to us and said, would you launch FIFA 18 with us? And we're like, yes, of course. And the first thing they said, and I'm sure anybody that works on games will know, don't fuck with the game. So don't think you're clever, do not fuck with the game. Like, you do whatever you want around the outside. We're like, okay, we get it, don't fuck with the game. So we put our gamers on it, and then we put our sports teams on it, and people that are like, and then one team came back and goes, I mean, we will never be able to do it. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. EA will never let us mess around with the game. But football informs the game, historically. But FIFA's now so big that the game can inform football. And I'm like, okay, goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a move hide it in the game, but only Ronaldo is able to do it in the real world. And then what we're going to, then everybody's avatar, once their real world avatar do it, then we're going to unlock it in the game, and then that will mean that. And I was like, what the fuck? And I sort of stood back and was a little bit like, okay, I'm clearly out of my comfort zone here, but you know what? Let's present it because you clearly know what you're talking about. And this is what happened. That's the name of the move, Il Tornado.
This that running bump, that B54 from attack and smack a chump. This that killer spit, that villainous vicious venomous El Tornado kick.
Is that what they call the El Tornado, yeah?
Oh la la.
So again, with this one, it was really an idea that needed a sort of brochure to explain it. And actually, when in the execution, it was so very simple and was purely about a conversation, starting a conversation, and then letting that sort of catch fire. But when it was presented, it was quite a hard thing to unpack, but we suspended that and went with it. So the next thing is Harvey Nichols. Now Harvey Nichols, this is quite an old one, but I wanted to show it. Harvey Nichols is a very fancy department store that hasn't really changed, hasn't really grasped hold of the digital age, and is probably in the wrong part of town. But they had ambition, and they have a real want to do interesting things. And we've done loads of work for them for ages, like the sale press ads, and which became quite famous, and this is another one, and these were the briefs that went into the agency, and creatives loved them and then this was another one where we created a whole range of products for Christmas. So you could give them, like, so there's a bag of gravel and Christmas lunch in a tin, so you could give these as gifts from Harvey Nichols and go and buy yourself a Gucci bag. And so this Harvey Nichols is one of those briefs that everybody steals in the agency. And the least fashionable team came into us and comes in and goes, so we've got this idea, and it was for the app. They were doing like a loyalty app, and they go, so we've got this idea. We're like, okay, like we like the idea of like, if you like rewards, get them legally. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So she goes, what we want to do is we want to use CCTV footage of people stealing from the store. So I'm like, yeah, but we'll fake it. They're like, no, we want to use the real footage. And I'm like, okay, but that'll get us sent to prison. And the team were like, well, that will definitely get us sent to prison. And they were like, no, but that's what we want to do. But we've thought of that because we want to give them masks. and we want to give them comedy masks. So the team were like, okay, so you want to use real CCTV footage of people stealing stuff in the store, which shows us, which is quite, I mean, the data on that is just mental. But your answer for this is putting comedy masks over their faces. So we're in the clear. And the team were just, the words on it were like, I'm not sure. But it didn't really cost any money, because we went to the client and we said, okay, can you get us some CCTV footage of people stealing stuff? And they were like, yeah. And the team that worked on Harvey Nichols went off and made it, and this is what came back. So I think the what the fuck there was what the fuck, let's just try it and see what we get back, and we got that back. Now, one of our biggest clients, one that we're most known for, is a department store called John Lewis, and every year they do a big Christmas advert, and for me, Christmas stands for fear, despair, because the American has the Super Bowl and the UK has Christmas. And what had happened is the John Lewis ad heralds Christmas. It's taken over from this. People start tweeting about it in June. When is a John Lewis Christmas ad going to be there? If you fuck it up, people get angry. And that means most of my year is spent like this on planes, because the pressure is absolutely insane. And over the last 10 years, we've done a little boy who couldn't wait to give a present instead of receive a present, a snowman who goes on long journeys to get a pair of gloves for his other half, a bear that's brought out of hibernation with an alarm clock so he can experience Christmas, a little boy and his penguin, who the penguin wants a little girlfriend, an old man who's stranded on the moon, a bouncing dog, a monster under the bed. Where the fuck do we go next? And every year, this brief's in at the moment, and we don't set rules because we're not that sort of people. We're open to anything, but there are definitely rules. No celebrities, and always tell our own Christmas story. It's been something that colleagues of mine have stood on stages very much like these and wanged on endlessly, that we don't use celebrities, we tell our own stories. So we briefed our most emotional teams, because historically they make you cry. And we got this story back about a little boy who's bought an art set, and then he goes on and becomes a really famous artist. And it was like, no. And then we rebriefed some more emotional teams. And actually, I don't know why I've got this slide in here, because the least emotional team, people in the world came back with the idea. And they came and goes like, we've got this idea. It's about a little boy and his piano. And I'd just seen this idea about a little boy and his paint set. So immediately I was like, no. He goes, whoa. The little boy is Elton John. So I was like, absolutely not. He goes, whoa. We want to tell Elton John's story. And I was like, no. And he goes, but what we're going to do is we're going to tell it backwards. And he ends on a little boy playing a piano, which I thought was kind of cute, but no. And then I went home, and I have 3 people that I tell, obviously in top secret, the ideas every year to gauge whether they're any good. And there was a moment of me that goes, I really like it, but I'm just not sure. Like there's a moment where he goes, it would be so unexpected, but we've got the rules. And I told these 3 people, and they all were like, that's brilliant. They didn't have the pressure. They didn't have the sort of, it always has to be like this. It always has to be like that. They just said it's a really sweet story, and nobody will be expecting it because you have gone against everything that you've wanged on endlessly about makes a good John Lewis advert. And this is where we ended up.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live.
I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes potions in a traveling shoe. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is a song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is while you're in the world.
So that was most definitely something that shouldn't have happened, and it was a moment of like, actually, what the fuck, let's just do it. And they had an amazing Christmas against sort of all the odds of the high street that is playing in the high street. And I'm out of time, so I'm just going to wrap up now. I think away from the work that I've shown you, I think what the fuck in the real world as well. Like, this is Gucci. This is what they're sending down the catwalks for one of the most prestigious luxury brands in the world. And yet, they have a 20% rise year on year, and I think the last trading was £2.3 billion. And what they are most definitely not is in that 89%. So I think the moral is fuck them, and don't ever be scared to say something silly. Thank you.